Hello, I am Ood Paul. Welcome to my world of stuff. Hello, welcome back to my world of stuff. It's not Ood Paul, it's me with my Ood mask. Hello, welcome back to my world of stuff. How are you? Hope you're well. Sunday evening. It's time for a physical media update. A quick update of some of the new bits and pieces I bought. Blu-Rays, DVDs, 4Ks, and Doctor Who monster masks. It's a mask of the Ood, which picked up off eBay a couple of weeks back. Yeah, I don't know why exactly. I think it's just a nice piece. It's one of those things, I saw it on eBay. I thought, yeah, is it actually going to look like that when I get it? Is it going to be something completely different? But actually, as you'll see, it's actually quite good, quite realistic at a distance. And this is something which I'll put on display. I'll get one of those mannequin heads and put it on display. I've got a Spider-Man one up in my office room in the house. And this one could be joining it soon. So I think that's a bit of fun. My Ood mask, that's one of the things I've picked up since my last physical media update. A few other bits and pieces as well. I actually have picked up a few discs and some comic booky things. So for those of you who are into physical media, you might want to whiz forward a few minutes because there's some comic book stuff coming. I picked up a couple of the Mighty Marvel Masterwork editions, which Marvel have been putting out recently, which are collected. I think they're probably A3 editions of classic Marvel comics. That's fine by me. It's just nice to get the early comics. As I've said before, ad infinitum, my interest in Marvel and DC is really 60s and 70s, when you had the classic artwork from Steve Ditko, John Buscema, Len Wein, Jack Kirby, of course, and the classic, they're slightly corny stories now, but they're good, rock-solid adventure stories. They haven't got any of that, as I call it, scratchy artwork that you get these days. And these pretensions towards being completely adult, dark graphic novels, it doesn't work for me. And I've tried some of the modern comics and I just find them unreadable. The stories aren't very interesting or dynamic, and the art is generally pretty ropey. Anyway, I picked up 2 editions, which have arrived fairly recently from Amazon. These are quite cheap, only about £8-9. This is volume 2 of the Mighty Marvel Masterworks of Daredevil. Early editions of Daredevil, these go back to sort of 1966. January 1966, right up to October 1966. You've got about 11 issues. I got the first volume, and I'm actually going to track some of these down. When they're released in this format, I just like this format. I mean, I know it's not the full comic book format, but the reproduction is really good. And it's just going to be nice to have some of these. Obviously, I'm going to only buy the first few volumes that cover the comics that I remember reading back in the 70s when Marvel became a thing in the UK. I think they're just nice to have and they're good fun to read. I've read a few of the Daredevil stories. I've read volume 1. And Daredevil is a character I've always been interested in because I like that sort of, the costume superhero and the costume supervillains, that sort of Spider-Man, obviously. I just like that era of comic books. It was sort of, they're simple stories, but there's nothing wrong with that. I also picked up this edition, I'm not sure where this is in terms of volumes, Captain America, the latest Mighty Marvel Masterworks edition of Captain America. Did I say Captain America or did I say Captain Marvel? You decide. These go back to June 1966. There's quite a lot of editions here to October 1967. This is when Captain America shared a title with Iron Man, as you'll see from here. So the story's all quite short. There's probably sort of continuing storylines and things. But I mean, that's what I call comic strip artwork. That's just dynamic and colourful and exciting to read. I mean, look at this. This is Jill Kane, as Stan Lee still writing. It's just exciting to look at. And as I've said before, it is a nostalgia thing, reading these things. And of course, you've got Jack Kirby. So you can't go wrong with these for the price they are. And they're just nice fun and a nice bit of nostalgia. Another comic booky thing I picked up. I went to a local car boot sale a couple of weeks ago. They have it every Thursday. I don't go every week. I go every 3 weeks or so, just to give the traders a chance to churn their produce a little bit. I went a couple of weeks ago. It was one of those warm days. Remember warm days? And it was packed. There were a lot of traders there. And I had a little wander around. Didn't pick up a lot of stuff, but I did pick up this little plaque, a metal sort of sign of Superman. This will go along with my... it's in the same sort of style of the Marvel ones that I have on the wall next to the door and the window. I quite like this. It's a nice, vibrant sort of piece of artwork. They also had some canvases, which I nearly picked up as well. But I've got, you may recall, I displayed these canvases a little while ago. Captain America and Iron Man. They had some more canvases, but I haven't mounted those yet. And they were nice, but they were much bigger. So I thought I would leave them where they are for now. But this is quite nice. It's a couple of quid. And yeah, I think that looks really nice. I also picked up, now that I come to remember it, I haven't brought them down with me because I was gathering up the stuff that I was going to buy, going to display here. Other things that I did buy, I bought 3 DVD sets for £1. 2 of those sets were the first 2 seasons of Fear the Walking Dead, the spin-off from The Walking Dead, and a box set of the first 4 seasons of The Walking Dead. Now, I haven't got any of those. Fear the Walking Dead, I sort of tried the first season. I lost interest in it. The Walking Dead was at its best in those early seasons, so I think I'll probably hang on to this quite nice box set of the first 4 seasons. But I didn't bring those down because I forgot, to be honest. So anyway, that's the physical media stuff that I can show you. There's a few bits and pieces I have here. I'll just briefly go through how I got hold of these. This is one I picked up from Zavvi last week. It was down to $12.99. I think it was originally $24.99, $29.99. It's the 4K and Blu-ray edition of the classic Universal horror film, The Wolfman. Yeah, that's the one. Starring Lon Chaney. No, sorry. Take that back. Claude Rains, Warren William, Ralph Bellamy, and other people. Yeah, this is one of the classics, that the 80th anniversary limited edition Steelbook. I think they've done similar ones for Dracula and Frankenstein, but this was a good bargain, and I am quite fond of my Steelbooks, and it's a nice 4K edition with some good special features. The film itself is actually quite short; it's just over an hour long, so I may look at that quite soon and do a retro movie review. More news on stuff like that towards the end of the video. I also picked up, I went to CEX, I traded in a couple of bits and pieces. So I had a voucher for about 36 quid. Luckily my local CEX has now decided, common sense has prevailed, they're putting Steelbooks and 4K discs separately where they were integrating them with the normal Blu-rays, which made it very difficult to find anything. But I did pick up these for £8 each. On 4K, it's Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One, which came out, when did this come out? About 3-4 years ago? 2018, in fact, 5 years ago. Very computer gamey. I remember going to see this with a friend of mine who was very much into computer games. He got more of the references than I did, but I did enjoy this film, and I have got it on Blu-ray, I believe. So I'll swap it out now for this 4K edition, which is in, as you'll see, very good condition. It's still got the codey thing there. I don't know if these codes work, but if anybody wants to look at it and give it a go, please do. So that's Ready Player One. I also picked up, I was very pleased to get this because it's still in its J card. It doesn't actually look as if it's been opened even. It's on Blu-ray, but it's very nice. Special edition of 12 Monkeys Steelbook. This is the Terry Gilliam film, which dates back to 1995, stars Bruce Willis, and it's a really interesting time travel type story, but a man who travels back from a time when the world has been ravaged by a plague and tries to stop the machinations of this cult that's trying to unleash the plague. Yeah, the disc is there. It's just one. In fact, I think, no, it is just the one. It's just the Blu-ray. Again, very good condition. And when you take your chances with these things when you're buying them second-hand, but on the basis that the box was in good condition, I was pretty certain this would be too. It also has the booklet inside, which is very nice because sometimes these things go astray, but the booklet is there. And an Arrow advertising card thing. Those were £8 each, and I've still got about 20 odd quid on my voucher to spend at some point when I next venture to a CEX. So, yep, very pleased with those. The rest of the stuff I have is a collection of stuff I picked up in a local charity shop. I popped to a charity shop not far away from me. They don't have a great churn of titles there. The same sort of stuff seems to be on the shelf a lot, but I popped in. I only go in every month or so to see if there's anything new, and they do 10 DVDs or Blu-rays, as you'll see, for £1. So I managed to find 10 titles that interested me, and this is them. First one, and this is one I've actually watched. I watched this a couple of nights ago. This is called Rage. Rage. Spielberg's Duel meets Halloween. Sensational horror filmmaking at its finest. Enough action, suspense and intrigue to fill 3 movies. Well, I'm not sure about that. This dates back to 2010, directed by Christopher Witherspoon. Stars Rick Crawford, Chris Witherspoon himself, Audrey Walker, with M.L. Mouse. This is very much in the mould of Duel, as suggests up there, and in fact Unhinged, which you may remember was the Russell Crowe. Sorry, I have a cat misbehaving. And Russell Crowe, Unhinged, which I think came out sort of pandemic-y time, which is sort of a road rage type thing. And this is very much in that mould, but not as good. It's not bad, but it's not a masterpiece, even within this sort of sub-genre, if you like. The story is this character, Dennis Twist, he's a 30-something who's off work. He tells his living partner that he's got some work to do in town. He meets up with a young woman he's been having an affair with. He tries to break the affair off because he's in love with his wife and he realises he's doing something stupid. But he accidentally and unintentionally invokes the ire of a mysterious and homicidal motorcycle rider called the Biker. And much nastiness ensues. It hasn't got the sophistication of Duel or even Unhinged. It's not got the budget of them either, I imagine, because it is quite low budget. The film stock isn't a little bit on the video-y side, and the acting's not great. The lead character is particularly annoying because he's completely spineless, and he allows terrible things to happen. It's a bit of a sort of chasey thing, but obviously hasn't got the budget to do massive car chases and all that sort of stuff that you get in these films. But it does get very nasty towards the end. There's very nasty graphic violence involving a chainsaw and a very nasty sexual violence scene, which some might find disturbing. I found it a little bit disturbing because it was just nasty. That sort of thing is nasty. I enjoyed this. I mean, it was watchable. It's only 80 odd minutes. 85 minutes for 10p. But you know, it's sort of the unpleasant side of the really unpleasant side of those sorts of films. This is one which I'd seen around. I remember this coming out way back in 2002, and this starred Jesse Bradford, who was sort of a bit of a name at the time, and Shiri Appleby, who was in the series Roswell, the first incarnation of Roswell. This is a sort of a stalker type film in that Fatal Attraction type mould, I suppose. It's called Swim Fan. Terrible title, but apparently it'll have you on the edge of your seat, according to Sugar, whoever Sugar is. Ben Cronin has it all: great friends, a great girlfriend, and a surefire college scholarship. But his life is turned upside down when new girl Madison Bell entices him into a one-night affair. When Ben decides he wants to stay with girlfriend Amy, Madison turns from number one fan to number one stalker. I haven't seen this yet. I remember this coming out, and I remember this particularly in the early days of Blu-ray rentals and things. You used to see this on the shelves in various rental shops, and I never got around to watching it and picking it up. And I quite like those sorts of films. They're sort of predictable, but it might be worth it. Like, it's got some special features, commentary, deleted and extended scenes, a Girlfriend from Hell featurette. It's the sort of film that's probably isn't in fashion anymore because of the idea of stalkery girlfriends wouldn't be considered to be but considered to be inappropriate these days, let's just say. But I'll have a look at that at some point. It's quite a short film. It's about 83 minutes long, so it's not a long 81 minutes long, very short film. I also picked this up. I remember this coming out a few years ago. Stop it. I got a cat on the table here scratching and making the table and camera shake, so apologies. Stop it. Anyway, this is it's not very good condition. This it's called the Dinosaur Project. Ooh, Dinosaur Project. I remember this coming out for several reasons. This came out back in 2012. At the time, I had a blog which was also called Paul Martin's World of Stuff, and if you're interested in looking at any of the scribblings on it, it's still there. You can find it online. There's reviews and bits and pieces, and it had fair traffic for a while. And I remember being sent by the company releasing this, the Studio Canal here. I was sent an exclusive extract from this film, which I played on my channel. Never saw the film itself. It's a found footage dinosaur film. So it's probably not great. The discovery of a lifetime will become a fight for survival. The best dino film since Jurassic Park. Seems unlikely, but then again, I don't think we've had any great dino films since then. Not even many of the Jurassic Park sequels. So this is probably worth a look. Fun footage. Has its limitations, but you may have seen the review I did of Lola, which I watched fairly recently, which is a terrific way to do a found footage film. I'll have a look at this some point because I like a dinosaur. This next one is a horror film. I don't know if I've seen this. It certainly rings a bell. I think might be a found footage film. Yep, the UFO found footage you've been waiting for. I haven't actually been waiting for a found footage UFO film, so thanks for that. It's called Skinwalkers. This one came out in 2013. Scientific research team investigates and documents the supernatural phenomenon surrounding the disappearance of 8-year-old Cody, who vanished into thin air right before his parents' eyes on their Utah ranch. When the group arrives almost a year later, the inexplainable incidents begin to escalate. This rings a bell. I think I may well have seen this. This is probably one of the ones that I would have picked up. Like a lot of you out there, I dare say I used to rent from Blockbuster. And I suspect this is one which I've seen. But for Tempe, who's complaining? This one I haven't seen since I saw it in the cinema many years ago. Oh, it actually opens up. That's quite rather nice. This is a Richard Curtis film. I think it's the last film that he directed, wrote and directed. It's called About Time. Stars Domhnall Gleeson, Rachel McAdams, Bill Nighy. Best film I've seen in years. Just perfect, says Cosmopolitan. I can only assume that the reviewer from Cosmopolitan has seen no other films in years. It's a decent little film. It's a sort of it's Richard Curtis's slightly saccharine version of a time travel story. Domhnall Gleeson plays this young lad whose father, Bill Nighy, has passed on the ability to travel back in time, but only within his own lifetime, I seem to recall it is. He can revisit any moment in his life to try things differently until he gets them perfectly right. It's that sort of sickly sweet Richard Curtis thing, but it's not bad. I quite enjoyed it at the cinema, and it's got quite a nice slipcover. It's a gatefoldy thing. I think it was probably a sort of a Valentine's Day edition because it's got To Love From on it. Sweet. I'll probably watch that again at some point. I'm sure it's online to stream, but I haven't seen it for years, and I will probably take a look at it. Goes back to 2013 again. I picked up a couple of others. Picked this one up because I like a creature feature. Creature Features 2. 4 films: Crocodile, Crocodile 2, Shark Attack, and Shark Attack 2. I did have the 3 Shark Attack films, the third one of which famously featured John Barrowman from Torchwood and Doctor Who. It's got the 2 Crocodile films. I think I've seen all of these over the years. But for 10p for 4 monster films, 2 discs, film on either side. What can you say? They're stupid monster films. Sometimes that's just what you want. This is supposed to be very good. Now, this is a fairly recent film, which came out 2021, in fact, so very recent. It's called Let Him Go. Stars Diane Lane and Kevin Costner. Following the loss of their son, retired chef George Blackledge and his wife Margaret leave their Montana ranch to rescue their young grandson from a dangerous family living off the grid. They soon discover that the Weeboy family has no intention of letting the child go, forcing George and Margaret to fight for the family. Sounds quite good. I do like Kevin Costner. I haven't seen any of Yellowstone, the TV series he's been doing. I heard it's very good. It's called A Wild Ride. I don't know how wild it's going to be, but I am told it's a good film. And it's a fairly recent one, so I thought for 10p, why not? There were Blu-Rays there too. Blu-Rays, I tell you. I think I've got this. I haven't checked, but I'm pretty certain I've got it. But it was Temp and I couldn't leave it there. It's Christian Bale and Russell Crowe in James Mangold's 3:10 to Yuma. James Mangold, of course, who has just directed the most recent and final Indiana Jones film, which I quite enjoyed. Not a massive Western fan, and I'm pretty certain I've got this. I haven't checked in my collection yet to see, but it is one that rings a bell, so I'm pretty certain I've got it if I haven't, I have now. And the last one is, again, one which I believe... no, I haven't got. Oh, there we are. This is one of those ones that was... remember when Poundland were doing Pound DVDs, Blu-Rays? This is one of the ones that they had in stacks of, and I've not seen it. It's American Hustle, directed by David O. Russell. All-star cast: Christian Bale, Bradley Cooper, Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, Jennifer Lawrence. It's the story of a conman, Irving Rosenfeld, who, along with his equally cunning and seductive British partner, is forced to work for a wild FBI agent. But probably quite entertaining. For 10p, who's going to leave it there? The final one, and this actually isn't one I got from that 10. There was another one, but I've got 9 there, and I can't find the other one. I don't know what the other one was. This I picked up for 50p in that car boot sale that I mentioned. And just getting it in the box. This is Astro Boy, Greatest Astro Adventures. This is a manga title. Don't know anything about manga. I think I've heard of Astro Boy. This dates back to 1980. After being abandoned by his creator, a young robot boy is rescued by an android advocate, Dr. Elephant, who adopts him as his own and guides him in the use of his special powers to aid and protect mankind. I don't know. I bought it, I think, because I thought, that might be a useful trade in CEX, until I discovered it's worth penny. So, I'm 49p down on that one. But, anyway, this is what happens. You take those chances now and again. Right, I think that's it, actually. Yeah, that's the lot. Those are my new pickups over the last couple of weeks. It's been a month, in fact, since my last physical media update. As I mentioned, there are a couple of others. There's Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead, but they're up in another room, so they're not available at the moment. But I hope you've enjoyed this little look at the stuff I've picked up recently. If you're new here, incidentally, don't forget to like and subscribe. Trying to get those subscriber numbers up. Do me a favour, trying to get to 400 subscribers as quickly as possible. So just subscribe. You don't have to watch the videos, but just subscribe. And if you do like, leave a comment down below. One other piece of housekeeping, as I've said, now that I've not exactly rebooted, but slightly rebranded the channel, looking back the views of things over the past couple of months. I've been looking at what gets views and what doesn't. And I don't get masses of views. If I get 100 views, I think that's a successful video. But I noticed that some of the ones I've done over the last month have struggled to get 40, 50 views. Specifically, I've noticed non-genre films. I mean, I did Letter to Brezhnev, I think, last week, which I was very pleased with the film. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I reviewed it. But it hasn't got 40 views. And when I've done films which are non-genre in my retro movie reviews, they don't go down very well. So I think sometimes you have to recognise what your audience is telling you, and it's clear that my audience, such as it is, isn't interested in me talking about things that aren't science fiction or genre. So on that basis, regrettably, because it's nice to watch things that aren't genre occasionally and talk about them, I'm going to be focusing exclusively on science fiction, fantasy, horror, culty stuff, because that's what seems to be the most popular, and it does seem a bit pointless carrying on making videos if people aren't watching them about certain things. So sadly, no more reviews of things like Journeyman, which I really enjoyed a few weeks ago, but people just aren't watching them because it doesn't appeal, which is fair enough. And if you're doing these videos, you want to get them watched. So I should be sticking to fantasy, adventure, action, science fiction, horror, as I've said, all that sort of stuff that people seem to like, which is absolutely fine. If you've got any suggestions, I still have a couple of suggestions I had a few months ago of retro movies to watch, and I will be doing them. Princess Bride, and I will do Shane. Somebody did ask me to do Shane, the Western film. So having just said I'm just going to do cult things, I'm going to do a Western, because somebody asked me to do it, and it'd be rude not to. So I've got them ready to go. It's just finding the time to do them. So that's where we are in terms of stuff that I'm going to be doing on the channel in future. And Blue Beetle review is coming. It's Sunday evening now. I plan to see it today. Just couldn't be bothered, to be honest. So I will catch it, I think, probably Tuesday. I think I'm out Tuesday night, so I'll probably nip out a bit early and catch that sort of Tuesday afternoon, get a review up on Wednesday. So that's where we are at the moment. As I said, if you've just discovered this channel, please like and subscribe. That would be a marvellous thing to do. Leave a comment. Comments are great. And yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. I'm going to leave you to it now until I see you next time. Keep taking the stuff.